data running through my.
Hello, J-Rock. How are you? It's good to see you.
Okay, now they can hear you.
Nice to meet you.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, hold on. We gotta follow.
No. Okay, so what
host.
happened? What happened was that I forget that I muted the desktop and the microphone audio, so then I had to undo it before. So you guys said hi, but I don't think they heard you.
Oh,
Well, hi. I said hi to J-Rock and that it was nice to meet you for the first time. And it's good to see Crepe here.
Also,
and
I apologize
QQ,
for
how are
everyone's
you?
ears, because apparently this alert is really loud.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, no.
Melly!
Melly.
Hi, Mel.
Good to see you. Hello, all of Melly's people. I'm assuming most of you know who we are by now if you're from Melly's, but if you don't, we're a podcast. Melly's also on
I was told it
She'll
was
be here
only the
soon.
Jason Derulo one.
I think it was just people who just really don't like Jason Derulo. And
No,
so that's-
I
the Cat Daddy
honestly
one just
think
played, so.
Streamlabs like
Mhm.
increase their volume or something, because this happened to me the other night where Streamlabs alerts all of a sudden got super loud. So I don't know if they did something, but it feels like they did.
There might have been
yeah, no
an
worries.
update,
Melly, do you think?
because there was something that was like, I lowered it by like 30%, and they're still saying it's super loud. I was like, whoa. I was like, usually I can have them at like 80 and it'd be fine.
That's like the bad part about streaming also sometimes is that we have everything set to like what we have it as for us, but
Right.
I can never tell like just like how right everything is for the viewers, because
Yeah,
like
like if Streamlabs or like OBS changes one feature, it's like, all right, well that threw everything we had out.
Yeah.
well, because I was watching one of my VODs the other day and I was like, oh my god, I really need to turn up this one thing. It's really low.
Yeah, my follow alert is like way quieter than my sub alert. And I definitely need to equalize that a little more. I want them to be loud enough though, such that when I hear it, I don't I don't miss it. You know what I mean? I want to be thrown off. I want to be startled by like a sub or a follow.
Well, that's the one good thing about having so many different like Adobe products is like I have After Effects, I have Premiere, I have Photoshop and all that. So it's like I can use 3 different things to make sure everything's the same length, the same volume, the same everything.
Ash, you're sweet.
No, thanks, Ash.
And actually, for anyone who's new here, I guess we do sort of have an obligation to introduce ourselves. So in your bottom right corner there, that's Trev or TL Breezy on Twitch, and he runs the show around
Usually
here.
there's like borders with our names, but
It's very
because
fancy.
Melissa
Yeah.
isn't here. I can't have it on yet, or else I'd have to rearrange it. But
And in the top right is the wonderful, amazing, talented Morgan, also known as Mapsio Morgan on Twitch. Go watch her channel. She's an expert in voice acting and JRPGs and all that wonderful stuff. And me, I'm Rory, or Talktopus on Twitch. I play stealth games and I like action games, and that's pretty much all there is to say about me. And in the bottom left is our guest for today, Classy Get Sassy on Twitch.
Melly!
Hi everyone.
And oh, hey Melly, how are you? And
so now I
Ellie.
can turn that on, and then I can turn.
now in a
These
perfect
on.
world, we would have our guest
Can you hear-
in the large camera
We can hear
in the
you.
center,
can't
but
see
we
you.
can't actually
Okay.
change the orientation of the cameras due to Discord not wanting us to be able to change the orientation of the cameras.
Trust me, I don't want to be in the middle.
They,
It's weird.
but in the
you know-
meantime,
What's crazy is that she's in the center for me.
oh
Yeah,
really?
and Classy is in the
Yeah.
center.
I don't get
Classes?
it, cause like
Yeah, Morgan's in the center for me and Trev.
And me too.
before Morgan switched rooms, Melissa and Morgan had been switched in positions every time. But then after she switched rooms, they switched. So like I don't know if it's
Yeah, we had one sort of
Sorry.
we struck gold once when we had Eric on because he actually ended up
yeah,
being
he was the only guest so far to be in the middle.
the
Okay.
I'd love to have him
But
back
listen,
and see
I've-
if it does
I've
the same
adjusted
thing
the sound
again.
like 9 times. I will turn it down. I'll put it to like 5%. All right.
All right, we've
Oh,
only
it's really loud.
we're one step at a time here. We got the borders working correctly this time, okay? So that'll be good for the next like 2. Well, we're not going to be back next week, by the way, because me and Morgan are going on a trip. But
Yeah, the
the
next
week
the next
after
day,
that,
will be
the
on
alerts
the
will be
26th.
yeah,
Look,
No one wants to hear
this
Jason.
Exactly.
is technically Melissa's fault because I told her to remind me to change the volume yesterday.
I told
that
you
is
to
totally
change the
not.
volume,
That is
and I
totally
told
not how
you.
reminders work. You do not shift blame because of a reminder. That is not at all.
Tiff
How's
used
this
to
my
do that
fault?
with you. She'd
I
be
didn't
like,
ask for
remind me
Jason Derulo. I
whatever.
literally didn't. I literally didn't ask it for Jason Derulo, but Jason Derulo keeps showing up in my life anyway.
That's exactly how I feel though. Like that was the whole thing with Jason Derulo. Me and my friends used to make fun of him when we heard his bullshit on the radio. And then one day we were watching E3 and then he just showed up and we're like, who the fuck is this guy? Did he win like an event, like a charity thing, like where he could sing at this or something? But it's like no, that's just Jason Derulo. He just didn't like that.
Jason Derulo.
That's literally what the alert is. It's just him saying his name.
Also, I blame Tater because I had to sing freaking Jason Derulo on stream the other day.
Oh, gross.
Oh my god.
I know. I was thinking about I might just get rid of these channel points.
Pew Pew's got a point though.
This is lame. People are abusing this privilege.
Pew Pew's got a point. You can do it on your phone as well. Although I admit
Yeah,
I don't
but
take
you
advantage of
still
that
might
feature
use my
half as
phone.
often as I should.
Oh, see, I have to have everything in my phone. Like, I literally have when I'm supposed to go to bed, when I'm supposed to eat, breathe, sleep, like anything. Like,
Wow.
I have it all in my phone because otherwise it's lost forever, and I'll like forget to do something, even
Like
if
this
it's
little
like
robot tells me what to do. I
Yeah.
can live with that.
Yeah. I'm like every single second needs to be like planned out.
The phone is like my Horcrux. Like if it were ever to be like destroyed, like I just wouldn't be able to function.
Right?
Wow, you have one Horcrux? What an
Yeah,
amateur.
that's-
Unbelievable.
He split his into like 8 or whatever.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Mine are in like all of the Hershey Kisses of the world.
But you keep eating them.
Yeah,
You
true
keep
story.
eating them. You're
Yeah, and
you're
then
self cannibalizing.
Yeah, and then they just come back and then I just make more. Easy.
Morgan's got her plan for immortality just all worked out.
Note that I need to talk to you after this about Hershey, Morgan. I might be able to hook you up.
Ooh.
Do you have a Hershey connection?
I have a very big Hershey
You
connection.
you have a Hershey guy? Is it Hershey
Also,
himself?
I'll be right back, guys.
Mr. Hershey.
Mr.
Keep,
I have
keep
no
everything
idea.
going, and then I'll be.
Are you getting dinner, Trev, or what are you doing? Are you like
Yeah.
gonna be right back? Or you gonna be right
Yeah, I'm
back?
gonna go eat, and then I'll come right back. So.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Like classy, you have no idea.
Lord
Like,
Hershey.
Lord
my,
Hershey
my
himself.
cat's name is Hershey.
Lord Hershey.
Lord
Wait,
Hershey.
Trev, you couldn't eat when Morgan was eating. What in the
No,
world?
Trev eats at a particular time. He's a creature of habit, that one.
I actually didn't even end up eating because I fell asleep because I've been sick. I fell asleep, and I think it was because I fell asleep watching you, Melly. I for some
Aw.
reason thought it was like 7:30, and so when Rory called me, I woke back up and I was like, "Oh yeah, I fell back asleep." I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go grab some food." And he's like, "Okay, well, do you want to like have a start and then hop in?" I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh my god, it's 8:30." I felt terrible.
Oh
So I was like, you know
So-
what? I'm just not gonna eat now.
All
For-
I
for
heard
what it's
was
worth.
you fell asleep during Melly's content.
How did you fall asleep?
During Resident
I wanna
Evil
know.
7, a good going
Just
to sleep.
just a
game.
relaxing
Right?
zombie
Like-
apocalypse.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I would put Melly and Ash's streams on when they would do the Resident Evil 5 and 6. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm just still super tired." So I would just put them on.
That's right. And then Morgan would just disappear for 2 hours while we're shooting up zombies and then come back. Like, I had a nice relaxing nap.
Yeah, sometimes I dream about them because I hear their voices.
See, because I found like what Morgan knows, because Morgan was in my apartment when I was watching Melly stream Alien Isolation, and Melly would scream, and then I would scream, and it was like all this fucking noise. Like,
One of my favorite times of that, I think, was when I was finishing up in the shower. I was doing my hair, and all of a sudden I hear Melly go, "Ah!" And I just hear Rory go, "Jesus."
Do you know
That's
what's not quieter than us screaming? Is these Jason Derulo alerts.
I'm
Oh
so
my God.
sorry, Ash. I'm sorry about the alerts and the loudness. We can't do anything. We're all just
Trev-
this is
Trev
this
has
is
all the
Trev's
power.
world. We're all just living in it, you know.
But like
The,
you can. I can tell him exactly how he can adjust.
Oh, he
that.
can do it. Yeah. No, he can do it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you gotta, like,
He can also make you guys managers though in Streamlabs. So that
oh,
you
he's
guys
not gonna
can-
do that.
He's not going to.
Oh yeah.
You remember that time
He's
Trev
not gonna
gave up
see
power
that.
ever? I don't.
I don't.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, there's that.
Hey, Skyzer, how are you? It's good to
What
see you.
alerts? Oh, just wait.
Go on strike until they are changed.
Oh
Jason
my
Derulo,
God.
well, Ash, he did have that wonderful E3 performance, so he kind of has something to do with games. I mean, insofar as like Joel McHale also does for that.
Wonderful is a strong word. Memorable is more like it.
Shut the fuck up, Roy. No, he doesn't. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll concede this one, to be honest.
I'm with Ash on that one too. Nah.
I mean, it was rather peculiar when he showed up that one time. And I like that there was no crossover in the fan bases either. Like, there were people who knew what E3 was, there were people who knew who Jason Derulo was, and there was literally no interaction.
Well, I can remember when it happened.
It's like a Venn
Don't
diagram
figure.
that never touches.
Is it Tufik?
So just
Tufik?
Tufik.
Tufik. Hello, how are you? It's good to have you here. I've not seen your name before. Are you from someone here's chat?
I've seen Tufik in Ash's chat a bunch.
Yeah, she used to know you and Ash.
Yes.
Well, there you
Tufik
go.
like Tufik. Okay,
There-
sure.
yeah, there you go.
Tufik like Tufik.
All right, I'll sign up for that. Okay, so in the sort of canonical way that
Oh,
we do this thing.
Stampy. Hi.
Oh, hello. Welcome. This is someone from your stream?
Swampy.
It's actually someone from, well, I guess kind of. It's someone from my armada in Sea of Thieves.
Oh,
Your
okay.
armada.
Awesome,
Oh my
yeah.
god, you have an
and
armada.
Vivid.
I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because I'm definitely gonna want to talk with you about Sea of Thieves at some point on this podcast. Before we
hell
do, we generally sort of get started with some sort of basic history things, i.e., like how you got started on Twitch. Did you start as a streamer, or the much more common route as a viewer and then stream? And also your history with games. Start with Twitch first. Actually, I'm curious.
History with games. You realize how old I am, right? So I got started on Twitch actually as a streamer. I'd never watched Twitch before, not even once. So I basically, how I got started was about 8-9 years ago now. I had a friend who was like, who I was working with at the time. We were coworkers and friends, and he goes, "Hey, like, you are a gamer, you should totally stream on Twitch. I'll teach you how to play League of Legends and you'll make thousands of dollars a month." And I was like, yeah, okay. Whatever, right? Totally wrote him off. And then like 2 years later, so this is where the story gets kind of like, I ended up breaking it off with my fiance at the time. And did a whole bunch of kind of life evaluation and life changing kind of moments. And one of them, I was like, okay, what am I passionate about? What do I need to change in my life so that I'm doing something I'm passionate about? Because my current job, I'm not passionate about it. I'm not doing what I want to do. So how do I change that? How do I add some more vitality to my life? And so I was like, well, I've always been into gaming. And like in my adult years, I've like started to actually let my nerd flag fly. So how do I make that even more of a passion and even more driven in my life? And I remembered my friend talking about streaming those years ago. And I was like, I'll give it a try. And so I just like watched a bunch of videos by a bunch of YouTube videos on gaming careers. His YouTube channel is called Gaming Careers. I don't know if you guys know him or not. And then also watched Nerd or Die. And so like I basically got all of my assets from Nerd or Die and then like watched videos on Gaming Careers and like set my whole stream up. And I did it over the course of like 3 to 5 days. And then just started streaming, and it's the rest is history from there. But my gaming history,
let's take it way back.
That goes way back. I mean, I had an Atari 2600 in my house. My grandma had the original Pong. My other grandma had, Super Nintendo, like, and it was funny because it was both my grandmas. So I think that's where it kind of like became okay in my family to be a female gamer, right?
Wait, back it up. Sure. So was grandma playing Super Nintendo?
Yeah, one of my grandmas was playing.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's badass.
Right? And so that was like, it really kind of set the tone for like, this is not a outlier thing. This is like normal, right? In my world as a little kid, that was normal. And so I kind of grew up that way. And then when we got a PC, I started playing like Lemmings and Oregon Trail and like all those kind of old school computer games.
I remember playing Lemmings.
Right?
I literally haven't thought about that game in a really, really long time.
I haven't thought about Oregon Trail in a long time either.
Right? Like those games. And they actually did an Amazon Trail, which I also played. Not nearly as good, but
I played
yeah.
that too. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Like, okay, literally, I have not thought about these games since I played them. That's
Right?
insane. Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot.
So-
I remembered Oregon Trail, but I forgot about Amazon Trail.
Yeah. Amazon Trail was like not nearly as well done.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as complete. But yeah, it was still a game and it was fun. you know? Yeah. So it's like it progressively, my gaming addiction, I guess you could say, progressively got more and more as I got older with like especially N64. That was like the pinnacle of console games to me. Just because I was so good at like GoldenEye and everything. And that was like the only shooter I played until I started streaming like 2 years ago. And so I didn't play any shooters in between. And you guys know, not everyone here knows, but I tend to play a lot of shooters now. So it's kind of funny to like look back on that because that's like the only shooter I played up until about 2.5 years ago. So
Sure,
yeah. So it's just interesting to kind of like look back at those kind of things. And so now, it's like I play shooters, obviously, like I was saying, but I also play a lot of survival games and simulators. And those are kind of like, I joke that I'm into the 3 S's. So shooters, simulators, and survival games.
Sure.
And yeah. And
Stealth game's not on the list, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll deal with that internally.
Well, I mean, I played Escape from Tarkov, so that was like a very stealth game, right? Like,
You're doing what I do, and I try to turn everything into a stealth game just to convince Rory to play it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Spider-Man, totally a stealth game.
Yeah.
I definitely will get to Spider-Man eventually, though. So I actually have a question about something in particular.
Welcome back, Trev.
Welcome back, Trev. You mentioned about shooters and how you had this like sort of extensive break from shooters, and then you got back into them.
Yeah.
Was it a game in particular that brought you back into the fold? That was like, oh well, now I'm back into the genre and enthusiastic about it again.
Yeah, so I was a Blizzard fangirl for a very long time. Like, still very much a Blizzard fangirl in my heart. Although it's waning, but anyway,
it's a tough season to be a Blizzard fan, right?
yeah. But really, the game that brought me back into it, because I played WoW for years, like on and off for years. The only major break I took was because I played collegiate volleyball, and so it's like I took a time off from that because it was like way too much going on to be like gaming on top of it and still pass my classes. But
I've been there.
Yeah, right. But so I was a big WoW fan. I played from vanilla on, and so I was a big Blizzard. I was a big Blizzard fan, and so Overwatch is really what brought me into shooters and like slowly eased me into shooters because I was also still a healer in that mostly. But that kind of eased me into shooters, and then PUBG from there. So PUBG was like the next big jump into like an actual shooter. So yeah, when it was big,
right? Yeah,
and broken. But,
we also.
I actually kind of relate to that. I actually also took a long, extensive break from shooters from about I don't know, pretty much 2010 until like Overwatch, and then in terms of like actively playing them. And now my motion sickness has gotten to the point where Overwatch is one of the only ones I can actually still play.
Oh, shoot.
Because it doesn't have the same sort of like weird properties that like Wolfenstein or Doom have.
Look, I told you.
So Overwatch is also sort of brought me back.
The way you fix that is play at 12,700.
Are you so you're still playing Overwatch like currently to this day, or have you taken a break?
Yes, I go back and forth with Overwatch. So I still play, just kind of like whenever I feel like it, right? And especially when like holiday events come around, because I gotta get those skins.
Okay. We always play extra around the events.
Yeah.
Morgan had some of the worst RNG that's probably ever existed during this lunar event, actually.
Oh.
I think I got two of the event skins, and that was it.
Oh,
I was very sad.
See, I'm like one of those people, I don't mind throwing real money at anything like that I'm into. So I'm like, I throw all the real money at it and just get all the loot boxes, and then I get all the skins.
But Trev, were you saying things that whole time?
Yeah, because I kept saying stuff, and then like people were talking, I was like, all right, I'll just wait, and then I was like, wait, I muted myself on
This
Discord.
is actually not the only. This happened the other night.
You
didn't it, when
pulled
we
a
were playing
me. You pulled a
Overwatch?
me, Trev. You pulled a me.
Yeah,
That's like something I would do.
That's the second time it's happened, which is 2 more times. I
Yeah,
thought
this
it wouldn't
literally me and
happen.
Morgan and Trev were playing, and Trev came back from eating and started saying, and me and Morgan were just having a conversation. He was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like,
Yeah, they kept like talking over me. I was like, those are fucking assholes. Like,
He's like, this is my podcast. Wait, so
Aw.
Classy, as a fan of Blizzard, I understand you've been to like multiple BlizzCons. Is that right?
Oh yeah. I've been to the last like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jesus,
Like
have you been
4
going
or
since
5?
they opened? Or since
No,
they,
no,
okay.
because I didn't have money back
Ah.
then.
That's a very common problem, I hear.
Yeah, I was a very poor college student playing a ton of volleyball. So yeah, no. 'Cause- So when I played club too, it was club volleyball on the collegiate level, and we competed nationally. The year I took over as president, we actually took 5th in the nation from an unranked team, but no big deal. But yeah, so I was actually you actually pay to play, and it's self-supported and self-sustained. So so yeah, I was a very poor college student. So yeah, no, there's no way
I
could
feel
have
like
attended
you don't have to
BlizzCon.
add that. You should poor and college, because I feel like those two are
Right.
just like synonymous.
Yeah,
Like-
I'll sign up
Right?
for that. Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
like
All right,
the
I'll
double
check my
negative.
name on that list too.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I've gone to the last 4 or 5. I think I counted right. I think I can count up to 5.
It's actually that's funny that you say that, because that's actually one of my like goals when I finish finally at the end of
To count
when
to
I
5?
leave at the end of next year. Yeah, to count to 5. Is to actually go to BlizzCon. I'm not like a really heavy Blizzard fans, but I do enjoy some of the things in particular.
BlizzCon.
I'd love to go now that I'm into Overwatch. So it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, we should go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like, and BlizzCon is so much fun, but especially if you're into Overwatch, watching the Overwatch finals, like, that was one of my highlights this last year, was watching with Waltbox and Spinachy, and like, we were watching, USA versus China, so it was our homegrown team, and like, everyone is just like electric in the stadium, it's just like you can feel it in the air. And then Waltbox is sitting next to us with his accent going USA.
Clearly this guy's not from here.
Yeah, so it was awesome. Yeah, it was so good. So that's like, definitely, if you're into Overwatch, you have to get in there really early. But if you get in there early and you get seats and just kind of like swap out who sits in your seats and kind of saves them for you guys, like, you have to be there for the finals. It's just honestly the most amazing feeling.
Since we're on the topic of Overwatch, actually, I want to say that giving a shout out to Overwatch, because that's actually a big part of why we all started talking to each other to begin with, is because we played Overwatch every single night for
Yeah, that's true.
for like
yeah.
months.
For a few months, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that was like nonstop. Yeah, I think that was our first game that we all played together, I think. And then we started with Monster Hunter, and I know me and Morgan started Borderlands somewhere in there in the middle. But yeah, Overwatch is a huge part of it, and we still play to this day whenever we can.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still a lot of fun. I had some friends who like don't play Overwatch were asking me about Overwatch 2 the other day. So like, so what's the difference? And I'm like, not much, I think, but we'll see.
Tug of war, or whatever the push.
There's a lot of
Push.
PV.
Yeah, the push. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of PvE content, and
Apparently,
also,
there's a lot of story stuff too, which I'm excited.
yeah,
That's why.
and there's going to be a lot of like co-op stuff too, so you can play in twos rather than like just big groups and parties and stuff like that. So that'll be really cool. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that they're adding to it.
I was thinking this the other day, and I'll use this to jump off to a question to all of you guys. If there was one thing you could have in Overwatch 2, what would it be? And I honestly want a team deathmatch that has role queue. Like, you can, like, of course, in a standard game, if you don't play Overwatch, you queue generally with 2 tanks, 2 damage heroes, and 2 support heroes. But I think it would be interesting to have like team deathmatch with roll queue, where you can queue with like 2 ranged damage heroes, 2 close range damage heroes, and 2 of something else. Because I can't recall a team deathmatch like non-objective based game that actually does that. That would be my one thing. What would you, if you guys could have one thing in Overwatch 2, what would it be?
I mean, they're kind of already adding my thing,
which is
I'm really excited about the co-op stuff because any shooter like. People might prefer squads. They might prefer like 3, like it's up to 3 in Apex and, different things. Duos, always duos for me. Like, I love it. For whatever reason, like, as long as you find that person that you super gel with, or like Escape from Tarkov, like, I would rather play with one other person, and I will not play with more than that. And I don't particularly like playing solo, but 2s in like every shooter I play for the most part, other than like Siege, where you can't. But
well, you could, but it's not recommended.
Right. But duos, like, by far is my favorite thing. So I'm really excited that they're adding that, and that's why I talked about it before we even got on the subject. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not really sure what I would want added, just because, because I do like how everything is now. I definitely think that there needs to be like some quality of life changes. But I'm honestly really excited for the story mode, because I like story modes and stuff. I like being able to connect more with characters. So I'm excited to see more things for story modes, and then new characters also, because I love like new characters and trying out new characters. So I'm pretty excited for that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm similar to Morgan. Like, I think, like, to me, one of the things that I was surprised, like, I didn't know about like the animated shorts when those came out. But to me, it made me.
I sent those to Rory backwards, and I didn't know it.
Oh, you
backwards in reverse order. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I didn't really know what to expect. I think the first one I saw was the Diva one, and I was like crying by the end of it. I was like,
the May one. Oh,
the
my
May
God.
one too.
The best one, hands down, is Dragon. You can try to tell me otherwise, but you'd be wrong.
This is an opinion that surprises nobody that Trev has.
The ones that made me cry were May and Diva. So I was like, I don't know. I just really appreciate like fleshing out like the character stories and stuff. So I don't know if what I would add to it, but I'm definitely the most excited about the lore and the stories.
I would like to second that. I think Blizzard has done a really good job of what little story they've actually shown of the game. They're still like, Blizzard may be having a couple rocky times in recent months, especially now with Warcraft 3, but they have always done a very polished job of things like that, and I appreciate that. And their cinematics are just about as good as anybody's.
Their phone announcement was real polished. Oh yeah, you guys have phones, right?
Oh yeah, no, that stuff is a train wreck. But the
I remember being at that BlizzCon when he said that. And like before we ever looked at our phones and the media went off, both my friend and I looked at each other, and we were like, "Ooh, he just fucked up." Like, we were just like, "That's gonna be all over the internet." Like the instant he said it, we both turned to each other and were like, "Oh God!"
Yeah, that just became a meme. Yeah, that just became a meme.
I can honestly, watching it, I felt physically uncomfortable, and I'm like, imagine being there, because like it's one thing to watch and get secondhand awkwardness, but to actually have real life in person awkwardness is like another.
Oh yeah, no, like he was super aggro, like he was done for the day because he was hearing from everyone, like that.
Yeah.
But the problem was, it's because like mobile gaming is a huge market in like China and whatnot. Yeah. So it's huge. So for them, but it was like, know your audience, right? Like, don't make it an announcement. That's fine. But don't make it the last announcement, because that's always the biggest announcement of BlizzCon.
They treated it like it was like the
main thing.
The creme.
Right.
Like, oh, cool. And like, no one was hyped for this because you're in America.
Well, and everyone thought it was going to be Diablo 4 too, and so it's like, so then they had to rush and like get that out. But anyway, but like, but to leave it at the end in a con that is mostly PC gamers, because most people that play Blizzard games up until they introduced Overwatch, for the most part, I mean, some Diablo 2 or console, as well, but like up until basically Overwatch, where it's like people could play on Xbox and whatnot, they're almost solely PC gamers, right? And PC gamers, mobile gamers aren't like super mesh. Like, obviously we all have like mobile games we'll play, but like at the heart and soul of it, they're PC gamers. So to leave a mobile game announcement at the end of a con, which is your biggest announcement, it was like, who okayed this? Who green lighted this? Know your audience. It's just, oh god.
Well, it also would have been so
I
easy
bet
to
you
not
if
do that.
they ended with Raid Shadow Legends that you can download with
God damn. The thing is, like, if you think about like what Bethesda did when they announced Elder Scrolls 6, like that announcement was nothing. There was like a pan of like some landscape
scene, and that was it. And I was like, okay.
But like that's all they had to do for people to be like, hey, Elder Scrolls 6, fuck yeah, that sounds good. I'd buy that. They could have done that with Diablo 4. Just been like a pan over a depressing looking landscape.
And then like the title, that's it. Like that would have hyped people up to the fullest. And
exactly. Yeah. Rather than leave a bad taste. Like it's minimal effort to end things on a high note, right? Yeah. Especially if it's something you don't have to prove or show.
Right. Yeah. So.
But before we deviate too far from whatchamacallit, I'm gonna answer Rory's question, which might be a little long, but
far away, man.
I think what I'd want to see more out of 2 would be like, I know that one guy said everything was balanced and everything, but we all know that's not the case.
That one guy, shout out to that one guy.
More like actual punishments for like not playing your role as intended, because like you all know that when I go tank, I'm never really tanking. I just charge in DPS, and if I go healer, you're down a healer.
Yeah, true story.
So I'd rather see more punishment for not doing the role as it's specified. So like, say for example, we hate Yeet and Rhines who die and then like complain about not doing like anything because they think they're doing
why aren't I getting enough healing? I'm at the front here.
If they play in that playstyle, I feel like they should get punished more than if they were like doing what they were supposed to, like actually shielding people, protecting people, and then like the healers.
What do you mean by punish?
Like playstyle wise, that if tanks aren't with the team, then I feel like I don't know, like they should start losing health or something.
I see actually what Trev is saying. Like what you could do is instead of like punishing them for doing that, you could reward them for not doing that. Like i.e. have like team proximity abilities or something like that. That would be difficult but interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that though, because there are also certain tanks that are meant to be away from the group and create space. And
it'd be like hero specific.
Winston, for instance, Winston is crowd control, so he would have to be away from the team to do his job.
Right.
You'd probably have to do it on a hero by hero basis. It would be very hard. It'd be very hard.
I think when I said like also, by role, it was kind of difficult because there are the heroes like dive heroes like Diva and Winston and Wrecking Ball, where it's like you can't really do that, but
yeah, but it would also make it really difficult, like because you would have markers then that people would have to make, and so it would almost hinder people's natural ability in decision making, right? Because it's like you would have to then meet a so much damage soaked marker in order to not get punished. And if that's the case, then it's like they might have their shield up entirely too long when they should actually be like hammering down and hammering people to death or whatever the case may be. I'm just using Ryan in this instance because we've been using him, right? But so I feel like that would almost break the game, because then it's like you would be forced into a certain play style, and that I think is kind of one of the beauties of shooters and things like that, where you don't know what you're getting every single time because of players' different abilities, and the way that they play that character can be so different. And so I think it would kind of break the game almost in a sense.
So,
like I hate to be the devil's advocate in that, but I feel like it would put people
I
even
could see
more
both
into a
like
box.
both situations, as in like it could break it or it can make it better. It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're not doing the role as like it's supposed to be doing, and so like I can't tell you how many like Moiras I've seen like go out and just never ever heal once. It's like, these people should be getting, I don't know, like punished. Like they should get like half the amount of XP or something.
Trevor, are you talking about yourself playing Moira?
Well, I'm just saying that, like, so it doesn't reward people for going in and just doing DPS everything.
I'm actually curious. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Maybe they could add some kind of reporting feature then, right? Like, because there are already those reporting features, but maybe they can make that like a specific one, right?
Yeah,
like,
so
like,
then if you get enough reports, it's like, oh, you can no longer queue for support anymore because you've.
Well, that's actually an interesting point, because that is not currently an option in the reporting structure.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a pretty interesting one to go off of.
Gameplay is, so I mean, you could.
Well, true. You could argue.
That it was throwing in a sense, you know, like you could argue that, but yeah, like it would be, I could see it being added as like a specific report function. Like, this person was not playing the character as intended and ruined our team because of it, you know, kind of deal.
I'm curious, Classy, actually, you mentioned the thing about player choice, which I think is, actually, I forgot to mention this when I said that's something I'd want in Overwatch too. This is something I want in a perfect world, but I don't think Blizzard might do it. So have you ever played Paladins, Classy?
I have not. I've seen it played a bunch, but I have not played it.
So it's similar-ish to Overwatch, but there's a really critical difference in that you can go into the game with the same hero as someone else, but have a completely different ability set. Kind of like in League of Legends. So you've played League, right?
Yes.
So, you can go in. You
cut her teeth on League of Legends.
In Paladins, you can go in with a hero that plays, this is my tanky healer, this is my damage healer. Same character, totally different structure because of all the choice you have in class building.
Right.
I would almost like to see that in Overwatch, so I got to see, like, because I feel there are some characters like Moira or something that I would want to see people play in different ways, or especially Brigitte. But I don't see that. But my concern in doing that in Overwatch is that I'm not sure how well Blizzard would balance it, because that would be really hard to do, because that's an extra. They already have enough trouble with the heroes there are and balancing those, let alone if you effectively quadruple that number.
Well, I mean, they could take their like Heroes team, Heroes of the Storm team, and kind of put them in the Overwatch 2 team. And,
that's a good point, because the Heroes of the Storm team is not, well, I'll say maybe not especially busy at the moment.
Well, no, they're probably actually really busy because they're so small now.
Yeah.
And I still play it, so like I'm still a fan. So yeah, like for me, it's like the one MOBA I enjoy. Yeah. But
actually, Class, I had a question for you, because I think I just want to ask about your take on the new like role queue for Overwatch, because I know because I know it's kind of been divisive. Like, some people really wanted it and love it, others think it broke the game. So I was just kind of curious as to like what your opinion on that was.
I like it overall. I think it's great in that like you don't have those people who like basically like 4 people who are playing damage, and you're like, well, what the F, like, change, right? but I think what they need to add is the ability for 2 players to both agree to switch roles.
Yes.
That's how I felt.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because there's been quite a few times.
I think they're doing that with Overwatch 2, actually. I think it's like if you unselect a hero and you're in damage and someone unselects a hero and healing, you can now switch between the two. And then it's still 2-2-2, but it's the option of, okay, you're not doing
Yeah,
so well
that's-
on damage, so let's switch.
I almost feel like it needs to be a vote, though, right? Not just unqueuing, but like a vote like, hey, I agree to switch roles, and I agree to switch roles.
Kind of
right?
like kicking people in Siege or something, where it's like,
kind
one
of
vote
vote
for
to
this,
kick
one vote for
player,
this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
actually, I think
almost
that's a
like-
really good idea.
And I absolutely would like that because I play all three. I don't play much
Yeah.
for support as much anymore, but I play DPS and I definitely play tank. And there have just been times where I'm like, hey, maybe I could do a little bit better on tank right now, and why don't one of my other friends take DPS for a bit?
Yeah.
And we just can't do that anymore.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I also like roll queue just because I feel like it really has balanced quick play now. Because there are just some people that will just flat out refuse to play support or tank. They'll just flat out refuse, and now they can't. But I do think that they need to add in that kind of option, just because like I said, there are times when I'm like, I really wish I could switch over to support or tank right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, it's like everyone has a bad game, right? Like there's just games where you're like, I can't hit a shot to like save my life, right? Like literally in this game, I cannot save anyone's life because I'm not making any shots. And so it's like you'd want the ability to be like, you know what, guys, I'm having a bad game. Let me just go back to like support, or let me go to tank and just like make sure to protect you guys or whatever, because I think that's also part of the problem with role queue now, because I only play competitive really in Overwatch nowadays, because it's just like, I don't know, that's where I have the most fun. Either that or Mystery Heroes. I'm kind of on like opposite ends of the spectrum with that one. But the problem is in comp is like you have all these people trying to rank up in their different roles who don't normally play that role. So like for me, it's like, I'm a support character normally, but I can play someone from every single class and do decently well, but not as well as I can in support. Like I'm like a really good Moira, I'm a decent Mercy, I'm a decent, other things. And so it's like, for me, if I want to get my rank in DPS, like I might have some times where I'm just like being a detriment to the team at that point. And so I would like the ability to be like, you know what? I'm normally a support character, guys. I'm just going to be real with you. Is there anyone who's playing a support role right now who would be a better DPS? Because I don't want to bring this team down, and I don't want to
swap with me, and then they could implement the like,
right.
okay, I vote, and then I vote, or I agree.
Honestly, it would be pretty easy to do. Like, just have a little thing pop up. Yes, do you agree to switch, and then swap? It'd probably be pretty easy to write a tool to do that. Actually. That'd be really. I actually thought role queue was going to be a nightmare when I first heard the idea, because I think I feel probably what Classy was saying earlier. I was like, but it limits my choice and my creativity. But then I realized that it really doesn't as much. It just kind of shifts it with role queue. It's just like, okay, well now I can focus on making more micro choices with this character. And so I actually ended up liking it. And then you don't get really wacky team comps with guys who refuse to change everything that they're doing.
Can't tell you how many
but
times
like,
we've run in and like someone insta-lock Widow and like do nothing, and it's like, all right, you think you can do something else? I'm like, nah, I'm
my
getting
favorite one is when you have 2 damages and then someone extra locks Widow. I'm like, wait, hold on, no.
Well, and like for the people that tend to, like, for me, for example, during a time when we didn't have role queue, I would sit and I'd wait and I'd be like, okay, what are you gonna choose? What are you gonna choose? What are you gonna choose? And then I'd be like, okay, well,
picking DPS, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I'd be like, okay, maybe I feel like playing support today, or maybe I feel like playing. And I play DPS a little bit more now because now I can. I feel like I'm okay doing it. But like I would be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna pick DPS, and then as soon as like I do that, the other person that I was waiting for picks like Hanzo or something. And I'm like, great, okay, guess I'm gonna go shield tank for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Kings actually brings up a really good point where that role swapping would be really detrimental. Is in comp, he's saying the problem with what Classy's saying is if you're a gold healer or diamond tank and you queue as healer and then swap to tank, you're going to steamroll. That's totally true, because then people could really troll. So maybe they would have to add in some kind of mechanic like, hey, I can't switch to tank because I'm just too high for this
Well,
level.
they have that already if you queue with more than one person. It's like if you play
Right.
support, it's like, oh, your SR is either too low or too high to queue with these two roles. So have that implemented, and it's like if you try to switch, it's like, oh, this person's too high, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good point, actually. See, I only play we only play quick play, like, really. And so for us, it's just like, it's become a part of our lives that just, like, it's a total dice roll as to what the experience of the person you're playing against is.
Right.
Well, me and Melissa we used to play comp, but, like, we ended up in bronze, and, like, I don't know if you've ever been bronze, but, like, that's not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to pull out of that because
We've all
everybody
been
else
there.
is bronze.
usually, like,
Yeah.
I'll give you a rundown of, like, one game we had. We had this Sigma, and then he just, like, charged in, never threw out a shield, not once. And I was like, if you're gonna play a shield tank, do you think you can put out your shield? Didn't say anything back, and just kept going in and dying. I was like, okay, all right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I did literally 1 day of comp. I played comp for a whole 1 day, and I'm never fucking done it again.
Someone
queued, and it
complained
was
to
awful.
Roy that he wasn't doing enough healing, and I think that was his record healing with like over.
And it was like
almost
you were like did
20K.
20,000 healing.
28,000.
Something like that. Yeah. They're
And
like,
then
our
they were like,
mercy
not enough.
sucks. I'm like, fuck you. Come on. This is, what mercy do you usually play with that does more healing than this exactly?
They must be playing with
Right.
the Overwatch League players. If you're shitty compared to them.
Yeah, Zippy's got a good point. That is definitely the case. And honestly, Overwatch, I'm not sure if you found this classy because I know you've played a bunch of different games. I actually find the Overwatch community less toxic than like the League community, for instance.
Well, League is known for like toxic. Like at first, I feel like it wasn't that bad, but after a while, I feel like it got super toxic.
When did you come into Overwatch?
So I came in Overwatch late.
We came in. We came in.
I came in
came in
April
early
2019,
2019.
whereas I played League early, so maybe that was the problem.
Okay. Yeah. Because like League is still obviously toxic and whatever. Like I won't talk on that because I don't want to bash too much on a game, right?
Mhm.
But Overwatch was so toxic. It's still toxic, but you have a good reporting feature now for the most part, and you can mute people and all that kind of stuff.
I've gotten so many
Overwatch
people banned.
yeah, no, I have too. And Overwatch used to be like just as toxic as
Oh,
League.
really?
Oh boy.
And because it was a cartoony, like okay game for kids to play.
Oh,
Oh
jeez.
my god. Like I cannot tell you how many 12-year-olds would try and one, tell me how to play, two, how they were gonna screw my mom, and then like three, to get in the kitchen and make a sandwich.
This sounds like
right? Like
the
it was
Xbox lobbies
awful.
for COD in like 2007.
Oh no, totally. And that's how it was.
Have a good night.
But that's why they needed to add the reporting features that they did, because it was just getting awful. And like people would not only be toxic in that way, but also, as you guys have already talked about, be like, I'm only playing Hanzo, screw you, and get wrecked team. You know? And it's just like, okay, cool. Like, you know, so I think, you know, up now it's better than it ever has been, but like, whoa,
yeah, because we
you
haven't
weren't around
experienced
for
a
the,
whole
like-
lot that was bad. Like we've had some bad like experiences, but nothing like terrible.
Yeah, we have the occasional person yelling a racial slur in all caps in
Yeah.
chat, but
Right.
it's like, it's not the sort of like relentless stuff that I used to have. But yeah, it was like you say, the reporting feature probably cuts down on that quite a bit.
It's really interesting too, because now that they've implemented, like, you can tell when some people are being like I don't want to say like normal, but like the normal kind of toxic, because we can tell in the chat, because they'll say something and the chat gets changed to something like I'm up really late, don't tell my mommy, or something.
I'm wrestling
Yeah.
with some insecurities or whatever. It's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I'm
the
wrestling with
plan
some
over here.
insecurities right
Something
now.
like
That's my
that.
favorite. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because their text reading is like, for those who know about like the latest work in like text reading, it's actually pretty good right now. Like the I'm not sure how they're doing it, like what protocols they're using, but like the neural network models for text reading are really good right now.
It's actually just for, like King said, it's just if you type GG easy. So that's the only time it will cover it up with that.
Are you
like,
serious?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the only time.
So that's
the
why
only- I'm
people
pretty sure
send
that's
it
the only
separately.
Never mind that compliment I was about to give Blizzard just a few seconds ago. Forget
I'm
about
pretty
that.
sure that's the only one.
I
yeah.
take it back.
So
Yeah. Sorry.
I always wondered why people sent GG and then they put easy separately, and I guess now that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That's why I got it.
Yeah.
So I always
To be
wondered
fair, I
why
actually
they put
do hate
GG
that.
and then they hit enter again and it was like easy. It's like, why don't you just say it all in the one line?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. It's
I've
always
had
some-
Zippy triggers. Oh, that's so sad. But Zippy, that would
more
be
you
such a
know.
great opportunity to do some like cool training and stuff like that. Like that would have been great. They
There's been
Zippy's
some
probably
very
the only other person who's sad about this, but
there've been some very interesting people that I've played with before. Every once in a while when I just don't like, I just feel like queuing up like alone, like while I'm watching somebody stream or something. There was one dude, because like I rarely will get into groups with people. I'll just play on my own. Like random groups, I mean. Like obviously I play with like my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one dude, so like I was like, they wanted to stay as a group, and I was like, why not? And I wasn't in chat with them, like in like voice chat. I was just like in text chat. And one of like we won the game that we were playing, and the one dude like said something to the other team, and then he made us leave. And he's like, yeah, they were being toxic. And I was like, okay, well, just don't be toxic back. And he goes, LOL, I wasn't being toxic. And I swear to God, Classy, this guy said, suck my toes 4 times.
All right then.
You're like, okay.
At one point, like he literally like one by one just goes, suck my toes. And I'm like, that's not being toxic, huh?
And
Yeah.
At that point, you were like, all right click, leave group.
Yeah,
Okie
literally,
dokie.
yeah.
I'm
This
gonna.
Avoid his teammate.
avoid his teammate is a good feature. That's a useful feature.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I remember when they added that too, right? Because that was a huge important feature to add to like level off the toxicity as well. So
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty fortunate to have as big a group as we have now. Like,
yeah, usually
we
we all know how like everyone plays, so it's like not like we are just like jumping in and like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you need to be doing this. It's like they know my play style is just like never press S, only press W. Like this.
yeah,
yeah.
as Trev's healer, I am familiar with the way he plays, and I have learned to adapt. Like, yeah, it's usually like me and Morgan and Trev will play basically every night, and oftentimes, you know, Melly will come in or Tony or something. So, like, and some nights we have a full team of 6 people, and then you don't have to worry about anybody else ever.
I think my favorite time actually when we were all playing was when Trev was like pushed up real far as like Genji or Reaper or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, I need healing," and Melly just throws out an orb and goes, "Find it."
She hit me with my own line when I played Moira. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. I feel personally attacked.
King, Trev, he plays it aggressive Moira, but the thing is, when Trev is playing Moira, I'm playing Mercy, so like we balance each other out in a way because I only do healing.
Look,
basically.
I throw heals out. You just got to be near me to get them because I'm only healing myself. Like they're coming out. You got to be right with me.
That makes my heart hurt as a Moira main. Like, seriously, like, oh, God. Well, because people try and tell me to play Moira like that, and I'm like, no, that's not how you play Moira. Like, she puts out a ton of healing.
No,
like,
it's a lot.
It's actually
Like I didn't
really
actually know
hard.
it was a lot.
healing
Well, yeah.
he has.
Yeah.
Rory and I
Because
were
she
watching.
gets her ult so often. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No.
Rory and I were playing Overwatch League. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, honestly.
We were playing
Yes,
over.
it's on YouTube.
Yeah, we were
Wow, you guys
we're
have
on
really risen
Toronto,
up the
yeah.
rank. I had no idea.
You know, he was playing Toronto, I was playing New York. It happens, you know. Romeo Juliet thing. But we were watching Overwatch League the other day. And one of the hosts was actually like kind of calling out Moira mains. He's like, Moira mains who get 5 golds, should you be getting 5 golds? And,
Right.
It was an interesting
That's me as
perspective.
Moira, I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
But it was an interesting perspective I had never heard of because when he first said that, I'm like, but that seems reasonable. But then I realized what he was saying was if you're getting 5 golds, you're definitely, you could be getting, you know, you have gold healing, maybe, but maybe you could have twice as much healing if you focus less on your other goals. And someone in the chat, maybe it was King, brought up that
I think
the gold system, it does lack granularity. Like, it is very, like, sweeping in its declaration of, like, okay, you're doing the best at this. But, like, you might not be. Like, especially where some characters, like you mentioned, Moira has a lot of healing potential, right?
Yeah.
So, you could be a Moira that appears to be doing a lot better, but maybe your Mercenary actually has better positioning and is is getting a lot of res, which does not count towards healing for some reason. And like in reality, you're actually doing less for the team in theory, than, or you could be a Moira who's not as good but still has gold, which is strange.
Well, no,
I don't know if there's a fix for that though.
It's funny you say that because when I played WoW, there were times in different guilds where I was a healing officer, right? And time and time again, people who were on my healing team would be like, "But I'm topping the healing charts." Okay, but let's break down those charts and look at like your mana management, who your targets are, how much damage you're taking yourself, and how much of that is actually self-healing because you're not doing mechanics correctly. And I'd have to look at like and that's what's kind of cool about the healing charts in WoW and just kind of like logs in WoW is you can break it down that granularly, like you're saying. And so I'd be like, no, this is why you're not actually doing well on our team, because you're not focusing on during these key mechanics on the key people, you know, that you need to be. And like, you're not watching your mana and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't care where you are on the healing meters as long as people are staying alive overall and you're doing what you need to be doing, you know, like I don't care if you're topping the healing meters every time, you know, kind of deal. And so it'd be interesting if they could actually break it down more like you're saying in Overwatch.
I would like that. As someone who really likes data analysis and does like as like a non-trivial component of my job, this would be something I would get a lot of enjoyment out of, like if Overwatch had that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I love that in WoW because it was like when logs got that specific, I was like, no, let me show you exactly why this player is not only toxic but also not doing as well as you think they're doing. Like,
you have the data to back you up. Yeah, you have the data to back you up.
What data? Get dated. Yeah.
I know
exactly,
a lot of
Zippy,
people have brought up the fact like why doesn't Overwatch use like a scoreboard system. Because like literally every other game does that, where it's like a scoreboard, so like people are held accountable for doing different things or whatever. It's like, oh, they may have gold healing, but they're also doing all this other shit that they shouldn't be doing. Like if they broke it down like that, I feel like it'd be easier to pinpoint like, oh, okay, we're losing because of this, so now we have to play around why we're losing because this person isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Overwatch's system is really strange too, because they have meter as well under your character. You can build meter, but it's not clear what that meter has to do with the rest of everything that's happening. Sorry, Morgan, go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't show like what, because I mean I've wanted to know before too. It's like, okay, so I have I have this much in damage done. I wonder what like like all the other characters maybe have. And I can understand why they might not do that, because I wouldn't be surprised if there would be the people that would like it's different when you want to call it out, like what Kingsley said there when he was like, hey guys, like I'm doing I'm already at 3k damage, I'm a tank, I shouldn't be doing this right now, like we need to up our damage a little bit more, and that's completely okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if there would be the more toxic people who would just completely like throw people under the bus, like you're not doing your job. And I feel like that might be a good reason for why they don't have it like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I mean, on the flip side, there's also the toxic people who are using the middle system to be like, oh, I have all these. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, well...
My favorite one is at the very beginning when Roadhog in the first minute is like, I have more healing than you, Mercy. I'm like, you give it some time, man. Come back to me at the end of the game, and then we'll talk.
But it's like Vivid said, it's like it would also help people learn to get better, because that's how I used all the logs and everything, like... I would use it against people in those kind of instances where, someone was being really toxic. But I would mostly use it to be like, here's exactly what you're doing wrong and what needs to be improved so that we can get past this like mythic boss who's like kicking our ass, you know? Like this is exactly who needs to be doing what in order for us to get past the point, you know? So it's like, yeah, in Overwatch, that would honestly like help people be like, why can't I ever win on this map for this reason, blah, 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 with this comp, you know? It's like, well, you need to be
working
focusing
as a
on
team
these.
is actually beneficial. Like,
Right.
who would have thought?
Yeah,
In a team-based game.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yes, that's really good. Because I hadn't even really given much consideration to that until tonight. But honestly, a more detailed like thing, and honestly, like I know like some people would say that may take because to a certain people, I think the sweepingness is good because it's a quick evaluation to look at it and be like, okay, here's how I did relative to how I did last time. But like, if you really want to make improvements, you need a lot of information. Like I know, for instance, that I really lack in like damage done as Mercy, like not damage done, sorry, but damage amplified.
Right.
And I would love some data to like understand better what the impact of that is. Like in certain, like maybe in certain games I should damage help more, and in certain games I shouldn't, based on what my DPS are already doing and stuff like that.
Right.
Get out of here with your logic, Trev. Also, hey Ray, how are you? It's good to see you again.
I'm pretty sure the
Rykor,
only time
hi.
Rykor, hi,
I've
hi.
like called anybody out for like the medal thing. It was like once I was like Reaper, and it was like the end of the second round, and I had gold healing, and I was like, all right. I was like, for one, I was like, I should never have this as Reaper. I was like, so can you explain to me what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Comp with random crew is always risky. I agree. Yeah, and honestly, I just really enjoy playing quick play with Morgan and Trev like every night. Like that's my jam.
Well, and it's funny too, because like, so this might be like, people will definitely have different thoughts on this, but to bring it back to like streaming, right? I have a kind of policy now because I've just been burned a few too many times, but I have a policy now that I'll never play with anyone for the first time on stream. I always play with them outside of stream so that I can see how well I think they're going to like be on my stream, you know, not from like a performance standpoint necessarily, because I mean, that's not super important. Like my stream is mostly focused on interaction with chat and people and kind of just like overall community. But it's more so like, are they going to be coughing in their mic the whole time? Are they going to be having their mom yell at them in the background the whole time? You know, are they going to be toxic? Like, I won't play with anyone who will be toxic
you aren't the only person
or
who does
rage.
that, though. Because I know a lot of people, and that's a good policy. Because it's like you don't want to bring people in, and like the first thing they say is like the N word, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm banned for 3 days." Like,
yeah.
No, and it's not at all. Kings, please don't put words in my mouth. Like it's not about the level of player. It's all about like how well I think we'll gel, how well I think you're going to be on stream. You know, like if you're going to be a good partner in my stream rather than try and take it over, you know, because there have been a lot of people who just try and become the show too. And it's like, and then you take a back seat in your own stream, and that's awful feeling.
And you're sitting there like, what am I, like, I guess I'm just going to sit here. Like,
right.
That's interesting. Exactly. That's an interesting problem. Because I used to have, like, we used to have sort of the opposite issues back on, like when I was doing radio and you would get a guest on radio, like there's something like there's 65% of the population, as soon as you put a microphone in front of their face and tell them they're on the radio, they freeze completely.
Yeah, they don't.
And all functions cease to happen. They're just like, yes.
Yeah.
Like it's like they become instantly
I think
terrified.
It's weird because like if you do that and like you do it on an interview on like TV, people get super hyped for it. But like you tell them they're on radio and they can't see, but they can only hear you, people freak out. I'm like, wouldn't it be the other way around? Like you'd be more freaked out being on like, live TV than just hearing your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like for me, you know, and also it's like kind of an aspect I've talked with people recently too, because I was watching Alpha Gaming. I was watching one of his videos talking about streaming with people, right? And kind of like the do's and don'ts, right? And so I was watching it and I found it really interesting because he also talked about how you being like with your friends and playing with your friends can be a really good thing. And so it's kind of like a strength and a weakness, right? Because it can be really great. But if you guys jab at each other constantly and kind of are like toxic to each other constantly, you know, it's like a little bit of playful banter is good, right? But like if you're doing it constantly, that it can actually be really exclusive to the people in your chat because they don't realize what's going on. Like say a new viewer comes in and kind of like that's all they're witnessing. They're like, okay, this person's toxic, right?
Wait,
like,
that's when first impressions come in. It's like you don't want new people coming in.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's like that's this kind of stream. They're like, all right, never mind. It's like, no, that's like if you were, but
yeah. So it's like you have to look everything you do in your stream or who you play with, like if that's your focus on your stream, right? Like you know, everyone has a different focus. Everyone wants to run their channel differently, and so I'm just saying, like from you know my perspective, like if you're trying to you know grow your stream or make it like a really good community for people to like hang out with, it's like you have to be looking at all these different aspects of like you know is this person that I'm choosing to play with going to be an asset or a detriment to the stream? And also from yourself, it's like, how do I normally interact with this person? And have to kind of like either tone it back and be really conscientious of that, or just not play with them on stream because you enjoy playing with them so much and you enjoy bantering so much that it might be detrimental to your stream too. So it's just it was a really interesting concept that was so simple to me, but I was like, I had never thought of that, right? You know, I was like, whoa.
That's 100%.
So is that
endorse that 100%? Yeah.
Is that rule something you've always had in place, or was it something that you had to become a rule because of like trial and error?
No. That had to become a rule.
Was that like day one, or like was that like a little after you started?
Or some mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made.
Oh, okay.
Like I've had every mistake under the sun. You know, like I've had.
Well, as long as you're learning from them, that's what matters. Like I've seen people who have mistakes and they don't learn, they just keep doing it, and they're like, "Wow, why is everyone like hating this?" Like, well, because you didn't like. Do you know the definition of insanity? Like,
right. Well, and that's the number one thing. Watch your own content. Like I know it sucks to hear your own voice. You get used
Broad
to
review
it,
is important.
and that's yes, exactly. Like it's really important. You know, it's like it's how you find out if your lighting is good, if your camera angles are good, if you're being interactive with chat, if you have too much downtime, if you have too much quiet time, if you have this, that, the other thing. You know, and then it's like, is this game too? Do I have too much to focus on in this game? As opposed to other games, so I can't interact with chat as much, and like do I need to then let my viewers know, you know, I'm not going to be as interactive, or do I just not play this game, you know? So it's like all these things that you can, this kind of knowledge you can gather from watching your own content and evaluating yourself, or even having others. I've had friends who have like we've each watched each other's content and kind of evaluated each other's content and like what we can do better. And there have been certain things that have really I've helped me improve overall too from that. So yeah, it's just like watch your own shit.
I really agree with
you entertain yourself. Like no.
I do really agree with what Ray says here too, because he said like one thing about group streams is you can't control the other people's sound quality, and sometimes it can be very bad. And there have been times where like I don't like to have to do this, you know, but like there have been times where I've been in other people's streams before, like just watching, and they're playing with other people, and like the other person's like one or two people's sound quality has just been so bad that it just makes me go, this is getting really difficult to watch, and I think I'm gonna go somewhere else now.
Yeah,
right.
It's absolutely. And I think part of it, like the thing is when you have other people on your stream, like depending, like so we've been on, like there's a lot of stream sharing in this group where we've been on each other's streams and stuff like that. But we're all streamers, so like you know, if I'm on Trev's stream, like Trev's a streamer, and I know that he like puts effort into it, I know that like, you know, to make sure that I help him in his effort and stuff like that. Like I take it seriously and he takes it seriously. But
Right.
like depending, you know, sometimes you may have guests on your stream who aren't streamers. And then, you know, who like they may not be as invested in the quality, and not just audio quality in particular, because that's an actual financial investment.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not worried about you know, going off on like me and Zippy were talking the other day about how some people will say like weird stuff. They'll be like, not to be offensive, but, and that's how you know it's like,
Yeah,
well, this is
like, oh, muted. And I was like, okay.
where it's not quite like something as like explicit as someone using a racial slur, but it's like, you know, like they're like, you know what I think about this group of people, and you're like, oh, good.
I was like, this is not where we
like,
need to be going.
because they don't care, right? Like some people will not care about your reputation and preserving that for you, right?
Right. I mean,
and they'll just go off. So
yeah, you are your own business solely and explicitly. Like you've got to worry about number one. So, and your channel is your baby. So, you know, like you've got to handle it and you've got to know. And so that's why, you know, because I've had way too many of them now, you know, too many experiences of this, that, and the other thing where I'm just like, no, like, and I even had to tell, you know, so I'm playing Sea of Thieves, which we had talked about earlier, and I'm playing Sea of Thieves with this great group. And honestly, they're all fantastic. But I even had to tell one of them the other day because they were like, oh, you're going to be streaming Sea of Thieves on Sunday. Do you mind if I play with you? And I was like, honestly, I hate to do this because I know that you're all good people. They have a ranking system in the Discord too. And so it's like, you can't rank up in the ranks if you're not like, you know, a really positive influence on the community, right? Like
Sure.
That's how you rank up. And they were fairly high rank. And I even had to tell them, I was like, no, I have this policy for a reason, unfortunately. I would love to play with you for the first time off stream at some point. Like, let's schedule it, you know? But I never play with anyone for the first time on stream, no matter who they are. Like, even if my, you know, like, so the highest rank in the Discord is Admiral for the Armada, you know, obviously. Yeah. And so even if it was an Admiral asking me to play, like, if I've never played with them before, if I don't know them, like, just from previous, like, interactions and things like that, like, I'm just not going to do it because it doesn't matter who you are. There are too many factors that could go awry, you know? So
that's another thing too. I feel like, I mean, not to like try to like call out certain people or anything like that, but I think, especially like for people who have been streaming for a really long time, there are probably some people in the chat that feel like they're a little bit more entitled to things at times, just because they have been in there for a really long time.
For sure.
And that's not always the case, because like because I've seen some some people just get like really toxic in certain chats, and they get like really upset when they get like modded, or when like the streamer will be like, hey, you know, like knock that off, like stop doing that, you're gonna get banned. And they're like, what do you mean, I've been here forever, you know?
Yeah.
Because like if like a small like new person comes in that has only been following for like 10 minutes, and they come in, they start being toxic, and they get banned like that, you know, like somebody who's been there for like 2 years can't be doing the same things and expect to just, you know, not even get a slap on the wrist for things.
Oh, absolutely. A little bit of entitlement with people goes a long way.
That's the other thing though. Like, I think when people sub, they think it's like a free pass to do whatever. And it's like, no, that's not.
No, it does not work that way.
Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, you've all seen Ash's chat. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've banned a sub, and they're like, hey, I'm a sub, what happened? I'm like, well, you were being a, like, dipshit. Like, I'm not gonna... like, just because you pay money doesn't mean you're safe here.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the real world, right? Like, you pay someone money in a restaurant for the exchange of food, like, and the food in this case is entertainment. Like, that does not give you a free pass to be a dick to your waiter. Like, ever,
literally.
you know? So it's like, or anyone in the restaurant in particular. And so it's like, no, just because you're throwing money at a situation does not give you the right to be a dick. And
Yeah, exactly.
I will ban you so fast. You know?
Ray, I'm really sorry to hear that happened. By the way.
Well, that's why I turned
You
Whispers
do not
off.
deserve
'Cause
that,
You get
because
so
you're
many
a-
salty
Ah.
people if you ban people. It's just like, I was getting that for like a year, and I was like, I can't. I'm not like they were fun to read, but I was like, I'm not gonna get all this.
Right, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, like the way that I feel about things is because I feel like some people just get this like big sense of entitlement when, in turn, with me, I'm like, I've been here for a few years. Like, I feel like I need to be on my best behavior so everybody else can see, yeah, this person's been subbed here and has been in the chat for like 2+ years. Like, we need to be like them. They're obviously doing something right to stay here and have a VIP badge or whatever it would be.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like-
and that's funny that you mentioned that too, because it's also like, I had to have this conversation with even some of my mods at some point, and and now they're like, I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm sure he wouldn't mind, but Pew and I had to have this very real conversation too about like how your mods are an extension of your brand, right? Like
They
are-
totally are.
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's like, like he didn't think of it that way. So like every once in a while he would say stuff that I was like, okay, but do you realize by you saying these things, you're making it okay for others to act this way and for others to say these things. And so it's like, you have to always be conscious of that. Like you're saying, it's like being the best example, and like, your community will self-police if you set it up that way. Like if you have
Yeah,
really
it
good
will.
examples for them to model, then it will only build upon that. And then they'll start self-policing, like you're saying, kind of like being that really good example as a VIP or special person in the chat,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm lucky. I have the best mods around.
Mm-hmm.
They're all sitting here.
Yeah, you have one mod who doesn't give a shit, and like no matter what you do, you can get punished for it, and you probably will. You have another one who, if they get you, then you fucked up.
And then the cool aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, if Morgan bans you from my channel, you fucked up.
I saw her
you done
ban
goofed.
someone the other day because I was playing Overwatch, and then I was like looking, and I was like, wait, I was like, Morgan banned somebody? I was like, wait, what'd they say? I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I see why.
The comment was up in the chat for all of 3 seconds, and they were gone. And I was like, ooh.
I remember what it was too. Oh my
Oh,
god.
me too. Yeah, it was. It was pretty hard to forget because I'm really blessed. Like I have a really good community. It's like small, and I know almost everyone in it. So
Yeah.
like I generally don't get people who come in and make weird comments like that. But
But you got someone coming in, they're like, I can make you famous, and then like,
oh, I get that bot all the time
Yeah.
that can make me famous. Yeah, he found my Talktopus channel.
Mhm.
Oh.
More Skyrim, so good, much good content. Yes.
Oh yeah, like my favorite ones were like when they actually do say the title in it, because like I made fun of Rory the other day because it was like ESO with Tiff and TS exclamation point Tiff.
Yeah, literally.
They'll come in saying stuff like that, like, oh yeah, I absolutely love exclamation point Tiff ESO.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna make overlays for your channel.
once you used to get those a lot. It was like every
Oh
single
my
day
god!
just coming
Noah's
in,
got
they're
more than
like-
I've ever seen.
It's like,
I-
hi, I like
I
what you
saw
call
it
it.
showed
Like,
I
like,
saw
what?
it. I saw it show up in somebody else's channel the other day. I can't remember. It was just
They-
like
it
two
It was
been
days
mine.
ago.
You
happening
banned
to,
one in my
Oh,
channel
that was
the other
right.
day.
Well,
That's right,
it's
that's
been
right.
coming there, and then in Rachel's channel, they've been coming out. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I had to ban like 8 in one day. I was like, what the fuck? Like what? Like who's setting these bots out?
Someone really bad, I'm fucking ashamed as an AI programmer. I think they've done a terrible job.
Yeah,
Well,
because
and
it's
it's
not even
funny
like it's a
be-
believable person.
Oh yeah.
Well, and speaking of like unbelievable people, like you get this like people like will ask me, they're like, how did you know that was going to be a troll or like, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like you get this ability and this radar to hone in on people, and you're like, ooh, that name with those specific numbers and like, like their account's only a day old, like whatever. It's like you start to learn and like, or depending on what they come in and say, it's just like you get this innate ability as a streamer to weed out trolls almost instantly. Like you'll hear me say every once in a while, like when someone comes in and is like, hey, you're beautiful, or whatever. Like, even if they just say something about the game, but they say it in such a way, I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, like
you're gonna be a
and, like,
problem.
yeah, and I'm
literally.
like, oh, get ready, everyone. You know,
Oh, it's hilarious because, like, sometimes, like, because, you know, I'm a mod in a few channels, and, like, now, you know, like, Melly and all of us kind of are now, like, mods in each other's channels or, like, in different channels. And every once in a while, like, I remember one time.
But yeah.
Yeah, our global mod up
True.
here. But, like, I can remember, like, whispering Melly one time, like, because we were like both in Tracy Doll's chat, who we mod for, and I was like, you know, we should probably watch this one person. She's like, yep, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you just learn, like, almost. Yeah, it doesn't take very much time either, and you start to learn, and like you only get caught up on it, you know, 1 or 2 times, like where, you know, trolls will get you, and then it's like, nope, now I know, you know.
Oh no, absolutely no. Trev is a fucking god at like being able to tell when people are gonna be.
Not to out myself,
like,
but I used to troll back in the day, so like I understand that mentality, so I know when it's gonna happen. I think I have a bunch of screenshots.
Troll,
Not on my main account. That's why I have 3 other accounts. No, but I have a bunch of screenshots of like me just going, everything in me wants to ban that person, but they haven't said enough to do it, and then the very next thing is like banned. It's like, all right, well, it's like, I saw that
like,
coming.
So
some of the best ones too will be like, because like Trev will, like, he'll be in somebody's chat and somebody will come in and say something weird, and then he'll be like, really, like you come in here acting like this, you're not even following, your account's 2 days old. Okay.
Yeah, literally, he'll declare. My favorite thing that I've noticed though is that now I have these like, because I mod for Melly's channel and Morgan's channel, and I have like confidential informants out there who are like people in the community I trust, who I'll be like, hey, like, you've seen this guy in another channel, is he a problem, kind of thing. And like they'll get back to me. Like, I've got like a network of spies now. Like, being a mod is fucking unbelievably cool.
That's so I have this running theory that like Roy's a sleeper agent for like Russia, because he sent me a link once from Russia.
This is so old. This goes back to before I was a Twitch streamer. This is like December 2017 or 2018.
So him saying that just proves everything I've been trying to stick on him for a while. He's got an informant of like
his network of spies.
Trevis, I once accidentally fucked up, and I said, so Trev had this theory for like a while, and then I was telling Trev about GOG Galaxy 2, but when I linked the article, I accidentally didn't link the English one.
He linked it in Russian, and I was like, why is this in Russian?
Knew it.
I was like, he's a scientist, he's probably coming up with like, I was like, he had to handle the coronavirus, something's going on.
He's programming an AI that will destroy us.
Yeah, so far the hard evidence is a scientist, and it kind of ends there, but the evidence is mounting, I'm sure, in the background.
Just building evidence.
God.
So one of the things that I usually also like to ask during these podcasts, whenever we have a guest, is, so now I know this can be a really difficult question, because usually what I ask is,
no pressure,
I like difficult questions.
What's your favorite game? If you really can't think of something like that, like if there's just so many. So
I don't like those kind of difficult questions. I like deep questions.
Like philosophical questions.
We're asking streamers and gamers what their favorite game is. That's like
I usually like to ask.
Question.
Yeah, because I usually like to ask, like, what's your most favorite game, which can be a little bit hard to figure out, because there's so many that, like, all of us are such big gamers that it can be just hard sometimes. But it can either be like, what's your favorite game, or like, what is your favorite game, like, as of right now, like what you're playing a whole lot of and you're enjoying.
We give you a couple of choices. We're like, all right, if you can't think of one, then name 3, or like name one for a genre or something. Like, just as long as you answer the question somewhat to agree.
So I'll actually answer this in like multiple parts. So
I like that.
Yeah. So I would say, if I'm looking at my favorite game in this very moment, Sea of Thieves, like, hands down, it just has like everything I like in a game, including fishing, which I'm like amazed. Yeah, that game.
Is there cooking in this game?
Yes,
because I love cooking in games. Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's cooking, not like cooking in that you can like add ingredients to it, but like,
so it's not
basically
like
not like Breath of the Wild.
It's
cooking.
not like what was that game on Nintendo, like Sugar Mama or something like that, like There's
Sugar Mama.
No,
Cooking Mama. That's it.
Cooking Mama. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Trev, I
What
think
are
that
you
was like.
thinking about? What
that
are you
sounds like
thinking about,
another
Trev?
game that you might have played. Probably is not on the Nintendo.
It's just that's the game of life right there.
That's a game I saw scrolling through RPG tags on page 27.
Yeah, if you scroll through the JRPG tag, I guarantee you'll probably find something.
Oh, please don't bring that up.
And I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
sure you're thinking of Overcooked too. But yeah. But no, so Sea of Thieves, like, hands down one of my favorites right now. The one that I've put the most time into and have loved the most overall would either be WoW or Ark. Like, and that would be really hard for me to pick either one of those, just because, like, I like them both so much for different reasons. And I'm also on the outs with WoW right now. Like, I'm like, no. But then I watched, the Shadowlands trailer, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I want to play again. And so, yeah, I think, like, from that aspect, if I was to look at, like, what have been my most consistently favorite games, it would probably be WoW or Ark, or maybe even Overwatch, because I have been playing that, like, since it came out. And then if it was, like, one of my favorite games from, like, my childhood, or just kind of that brings back, like, really neat kind of memories, it would be RE4, because Resident Evil 4, I played that, like, straight through. I did not sleep and for, like, 2 days, and just beat the shit out of that game, and I loved that game, like, with all of my heart. It had everything I like in a game, like, and it was just such a blast. And then
Cooking and fishing. Just kidding.
Yeah. Right, except for cooking and fishing. But you could create, like, the little, kind of like healing, kind of like almost
herbs.
like poultice, with the herbs and stuff. So I mean, kind of cooking. Yeah, like alchemy, I guess.
Alchemy, it's an alchemy mechanic.
Yeah. And then my favorite game that, like, got me super hooked and, like, into gaming would probably be Lemmings, because that game, like, when we first got a computer and we got that game, I would sit there and play Lemmings like nobody's business, and I was like, why are they all falling down the hole? So yeah, so I have, like, many different games that span kind of, like, which made me into the gamer I am today. So yeah.
You have specific games for, like, specific reasons why you love them.
Yes, exactly.
Which I feel like a lot of people do.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, there are just so many out there that are so amazing. Like,
I don't think anyone could
not?
answer that in a definitive, like, this is the one answer. Like, that's the guaranteed answer I'm going with every time. Like, it's gonna change depending on...
I think some people can. Like, I know some people who play Overwatch, and that's all they play. They're obsessed with it. They love it. That is their game. Like, I know people like that. So I know that there are some people who could answer like that.
The extreme hardcore people, maybe. But, like, for, like...
It's easier for people to answer, like,
stuff,
favorite series. Like, I know Morgan's favorite
Right.
series is Animal Crossing, but if you asked her favorite game, you'd get a more complicated answer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like, I mean, a lot of people, could say, the Resident Evil series or whatever,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because it spans multiple generations, so, yeah.
Quick question. For Ark, are you normally, like, the PvE, or are you on the survival of the fit? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've played on PvP servers, but very limitedly, because I was never part of, like, a big alpha, like,
Clan,
group.
so you just get destroyed. Okay,
Yeah, so I just got destroyed, and I was just like, nah, that's not for me. Because, like, the problem with Ark is, like, if you're like me, when you play Ark, you get overly attached to your animals and your base.
I feel that, because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I've stuck classy cry over turtle in before, so I know.
Yeah.
I have to only know the turtle for like 2 minutes, so I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's me playing Pikmin. I can't play Pikmin because like it would freak me out whenever like one of them would die and you just see their tiny little Pikmin ghosts going up into the air.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it killed me.
You're like, no, please.
Like, no, I
I
can't play
remember,
this anymore. No.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, for me, and I put a lot of time into my bases too. Like, if you look at
You
how
can
my
sink a lot of time into like depending on what you're doing. There's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
like hour to like days of just building bases.
Oh yeah, like all of the bases I build now take the span of multiple days because I'm also so particular. I'm like, oh my god, this one thing, like this whole thing I built that took me all day has like it's like a centimeter off, but that
Yeah.
centimeter
The
is gonna
positioning
ruin
and
me
try to getting it
forever.
lined up is so annoying because if you move your mouse just a tad, it's just like, oh, now it's off center, and you place it, it's like,
Mhm. Yeah, and if you play modded like I do, because I play, with a bunch of mods, they don't always speak well together.
yeah, no, I've
they
run
do
into that problem.
overall. Overall they do, but their building pieces aren't always the same size. Like they don't always fit. They fit together, but they don't always. Like sometimes if you use certain building assets from one mod and another mod, there might be like a little bit of a gap because like this wall is just like this much shorter than this
Than
wall
the
from
other
this
one,
other
yeah.
mod.
Hmm.
And so it's like, yeah, you have to be like you have to be OCD to build in that game. Like it's kind of ridiculous and kind of broken.
That's happened to me before. Like I started building something and I had spent like 2 hours on it, and then like this one thing wouldn't line up. I was like, all right, no, I'm tearing it down. I can't do this. I was like, it's not gonna
Right.
work.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just like I could not possibly play on a PvP server because if my base got ruined or my animals got dead, like there's no way I could play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only play on private modded servers, on my own private modded servers too, because I can't even play with like multiple other people who I don't know if they're gonna fuck with my shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I'm so weird about Ark. Trust me.
I-
like
I
if you wanna
almost,
Class has got trust
dive in-
issues.
yeah,
Trev,
if you wanna deep
we
dive
almost
into
lost
my
Trev
neuroses.
forever, actually. To
Yeah,
Ark.
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
first got Ark, like that's all I played. I sank like almost 250 hours into it within like the span of like 2 weeks. And everyone was like,
I
"You
lit-
okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm."
I
playing
remember
Ark,
that so well because I had to take a break from gaming because I had some family like staying with me and like they went to sleep like hella early and I didn't want to keep them up. So I was like, I'm not gonna play any games for the next week and a half. Trev was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna play? I was like, I don't know, play fucking something else. And he started playing Ark and that
Ark.
became his whole life for like 2 weeks.
Every time I would log into Discord, it said Hella Ox is playing Ark.
Yeah.
Like when I
But-
go to bed, when I wake up.
It's so immersive like that.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's got everything, And once again, it
and
just
what
has
you were saying is like when one of your tames dies, like you feel so like once I accidentally killed my own wyvern.
Oh,
And I almost wanted to
no.
uninstall at that point. I was like, you know
Oh,
what?
yeah.
I was like, it's not even worth it. Like,
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, my mod Pew, like he has a ton of time in that game. Like he is an expert on Ark, right? Like he has a ton of time in it. And there have been times where like even just the game like all of a sudden obliterated just because of like a weird save or a weird mod like talking issue or something, just like obliterated his single player server and everything disappeared and he
goodness.
was like, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I am done with this game for a long time. And he didn't play for like several months to a year even, I think. Like yeah, it's just
it's a
that
huge
is-
time sink. And like
Oh,
the thing
yeah.
is like if there's so many bugs with that game that like I've had it where I've logged in or on the server that I run like publicly or no, like locally, that like it's
Yeah.
only me on it. Where
Right.
like some stuff will just disappear randomly. I'm like, what the hell is like this took me like a day and a half to make and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
The Zippy, I use that. We use that a lot actually here. Me and my roommate quote that literally every day. Sometimes when we're like doing some bullshit for work.
Oh, Class, I actually had a question for you. So I know that, like, I think we all know that you like kind of took an extended hiatus from streaming, and just recently came back. So what was your experience, kind of being on that extended break, and then also coming back?
Okay, so
Like the challenge.
I feel like Rocky running in, just like hyped, like, oh, I'm back, and like,
a range of emotions, like emotional roller coaster is all I can explain with all of that. So when I took a break, so one of the people at my work who is my direct coworker who shares some of the load, right, had let me back it up a little bit. So our direct supervisor retired, and basically retired within like a 2 weeks notice, right? Like gave almost no notice. So my coworker who was sharing part of the load had to step into her role and be acting, supervisor, and which meant that I had to cover all of my coworkers' duties and all of my own duties. And so I was working just crazy amounts. I was so stressed. And then on top of that, I was just not loving the people I was working with. I was having a really hard time with them. And so I was just in a really like kind of blah, horrible place. And I was like, and as I do, because anytime I decide that I'm not in a good place, so ever since I was a very, very young kid, I've dealt with depression, and a very deep depression, right? And so at this point in my life, it's very manageable because I have learned tools to deal with it. And one of those tools, and just kind of like the naturally who I am, is I have a problem. Okay, how the heck do I fix this problem, turn it around, and make it better? And like that is something with me. So I was like, okay, here's something that I have loved so much in the past, streaming. And now it's like I'm not loving it because of this other huge aspect of my life is so horrible. It's invading every single other aspect of my life. So I was like, I'm not super enjoying streaming because I'm so stressed and tired and just like a ball of pain over on this end and in this aspect of my life. What else am I passionate about? What else could I do to get myself out of this area and back into the things that I love and could free up kind of my schedule and things like that? So I fell on real estate because I have a lot of family members who've been in real estate. My father was a real estate attorney. Like I've just always been surrounded by it. And so I kind of have this innate knowledge of it, right? Kind of innate, but also nebulous a little bit because it's like, I didn't officially study anything of it.
But you absorb knowledge and just kind of like, yeah,
exactly. Just from being around it. And then my grandparents on either side were both real estate agents and, things like that. So I was like, you know what? And also my roommate had recently gotten her brokerage license. So I was like, okay, the stars are aligning. This is what I need to do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break because I need to study for this license. And anyone who's studied for it knows you only have to take 3 classes, but they're 3 college level courses. And when you're already working full time and you're trying to get them done in the quickest time possible, because they're also time gated. So you can only take the next one if you have completed the first one, and you have to spend so much time on that first one, which I think it's like 8 weeks or something like that. And so I had to complete that course, pass the final, and then I can move on to the next course. So it's like I was determined to get it done as quick as possible just because, again, this aspect of my life was so horrible. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go full time. I'm going to get out of this job. So I took all the time off because I couldn't possibly work all this time, be so stressed out like I was, study, like take, almost full college course load, and then like also stream on top of it all, right? Like I was like, there's no way. So I took all that time off, got my license. So I got my real estate license in October. And then I attended BlizzCon with Ash and Waltbox, and it just like brought me back, right? Like it kind of fueled my fire again, and was like, I need to be around these people again. You know, like I need these people in my life. I need my community. I need to make this happen, right? Because it was such a positive thing, and especially during a time that was dark in my life when I started streaming, like I talked about before, it became such a savior to me to have this community that I've built and to have these people that truly do care about my welfare, you know? And so, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to figure it out. And so I took a long time even then to like get everything set up again and kind of like get back into that mindset and like fully get back into it, because I was also building the real estate business too, and I'm still building it, you know. So I, you know, also decided to come back on a very limited basis, and kind of like I had to come at it from a very different mentality and be like, okay, I need to be patient with myself, because I'm not very good at that, you know. I'm not very good at being patient with you know, not seeing rapid and very like quick like progression and success. Yeah, exactly. So for me it was very much like, okay, I need to know that you have all this stuff going on, all this stuff you're trying to build, that you're doing this solely for your enjoyment of it. And it's like as soon as I flipped that switch, I was like, okay, I can go back, right? And so I went back, and as Melly knows, I kind of talked to her a little bit, because I was like, no one's going to be there. I feel invisible. Like, I feel like people aren't going to care. And as soon as I officially announced, because I left nuggets from BlizzCon on, I left little nuggets that I was coming back, and like, you know, people didn't necessarily pick up on them, or they did, you know, but I left little nuggets, and they progressively got more and more blaring, you know, like, and then finally when I was like, hey, if you have a date on Friday, or if you don't, be my hot date, you know, like, basically. And then everyone was like, what, you know? And so then people were messaging me, like, who I hadn't talked to for the last, you know, 5 or 6 months. I'm gonna start crying, you guys. But
it's getting real. It's getting real.
Yeah, but I mean, you know me, I'm always getting real, you know. Yeah. But people messaged me who I hadn't heard from, and also, if you know me, if you're ever in my heart at any point of my lifetime, like, you're forever in my heart. Like, as long as you don't do me dirty, like, you're forever my friend, right? And so for me, it was like people messaged me out of, you know, kind of out of the blue from the last 5 months, and I don't care. Like, you message me after, no matter how long it's been, it's great. You know, like, I'm completely thankful that you just reached out to me. And everyone did that, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Or even if they were like, I can't make it, I'm so bummed. And I'm like, I know you are, and I love that, you know, like, don't even worry about it. Like, you even just expressing that you can't make it means that you took the energy and time to even express that, like, you can't be there, and that troubles you. Like, that's special, you know. And I was just like an absolute wreck that night, you know. It's like I was constantly just going in and out of tears and dancing away the tears and, you know, just trying. And so it was such a positive, amazing thing to come back into it and to come back to the community, that I was like, I have to keep this in my life, and I have to keep this mentality about it too. because, you know, it's so easy to get caught up in the like, hey, maybe I could become partner. Maybe I could do this if I just do that and just do this and just do that. And then all of a sudden it becomes this really stressful, horrible thing. When it should be nothing but a positive, just amazing experience. And so, yeah, it's like, I very much feel that way about it now, where I'm, you know, it's nothing but positive. It's nothing but joy. It's only adding to my life at this point. And I need to maintain that mentality about it and be really conscientious of that. So it's been all over the place. Yeah.
Well, I was so glad to see you back, because I can remember when when I saw the little thing in the corner say classy gets Sassie's live, and I was like, oh my god,
my heart literally jumped. I was like,
I want to say that was actually my first experience of your stream. Like, I think I had followed before, right? And then I remember I was on the phone with Morgan, and Morgan mentioned that you went live, so I went over to see, and I remember being totally immediately blown away by your community and how sweet they all were, and how many of them they all were that were showing support. I was like, I didn't, like I say, I haven't seen a lot of your stream before. I've only seen it a couple times, but like your fans really love you, and that was like really obvious to me, even though I didn't know much about your community.
There was something just so wonderful about seeing so many people come together like that, and just in such like love and support. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, like thinking about it now, I'm like, I can't hold back the tears, like, also trick for that. You drink water, you can hold back tears.
So that's why you've got the big.
Yeah,
that's why it's 64 ounces. Yeah,
because I'm an emotional mess.
Hold back the tears. I get it now.
Yeah. But honestly, I mean, that is what I need to hold on to, right? Like, because stream has saved me. This community has saved me time and time again, and it's like, I can't lose that. And so and that's why I need to figure out a way to keep it in my life and keep it this beautiful kind of shiny object, right? Like, instead of tainting it with, rust and letting the stress and outside factors taint it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, they always say that, like, you're always going to be your biggest critic. So it's like, there's that aspect where it's like, oh, like this is not going well or whatever. It's like, and it couldn't be. It's just like, because you're your biggest critic, you're always gonna think that aspect of like, this could be doing this much better, and this could be doing this much better. It's like, they just need to stop. And like, I don't want to speak for everybody in here, but I know that we all feel like, I know Rory, Morgan, and Melissa are always like really hyped to stream, because like now, like before, they would be able to do it more frequently, and then I know since Rory has the new job, he doesn't have that schedule of like the set days anymore, and then Morgan has the two different jobs that she can only be on certain times, and Melissa's busier now, so they used it as like a thing. And it's like, oh shit, like I can stream now. Like they get real hyped and like they're real excited and happy about it, and they're like, that's the time they set aside to enjoy for themselves.
Yeah. No,
exactly. The hunger, really, like you feel it like after a few days. Like sometimes if you stream for like a bunch of days in a row, you're like, okay, I'm good for streaming now, and then you leave it for a few days and you're like,
you really want to get
time without
But I think it's also too, I mean, like I completely lost the thought. You go.
Oh no, I want I'm gonna need you to go, because my next thing is wrapping up the podcast.
No, I was. Oh God, you were just saying too. It's like people. This was it. People meet me in person too, and they're like, or they'll play other games with me outside of stream, right? And they're like, you're not how you normally are. And I'm like, but you don't understand. That's still me on stream, but I'm like me times 10 because I'm so excited to be there. It's so hard for me not to be hype. Like, it's so hard for me not to have this like crazy amount of energy, even though I'm a huge introvert. I'm actually like, the only way for me to get energy back is like to be in my dark room and like just on my own, right? Like, I cannot be around another person. Otherwise, my battery is gonna go dead. You know, like
Your social
Yeah.
battery
kinda
runs
deal.
out, and it's like I can't deal with these people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even if I go to like long parties, I'll like find a way to like sneak outside and like be on my own for a little bit. Like, I'm that person, you know. And then like if people sneak out and kind of like have a little one-on-one chat with me, it's fine. But you know, for the most part, I'm like I just need to have my own space. Like, I'm a very introverted, kind of independent, very like my own person, you know. So when they meet me in person too, they're like, classy, like you're not so as hype as I thought you would be. And it's like, because it's still me. Like, I'm still this person. I'm still this goofball, you know, nerd. But like, it's just when you're on stream and you're on camera and you're around all these people that give you energy, like they give you life, you know, it's just like, how can you not be turned up to 11? You know, it's just, it's something
You feed off
so
your,
It's
different.
you. It's like
community
you
and your vibe.
it's you amplified.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's just it's kind of interesting because, you know, some people will also play with me off stream and be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing's wrong. Like, I'm actually
just chilling.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
just, this is me when I just get to like do my own thing, you know. But and that's not bad either, you know. It's just like a very, every person has, you know, every person's an onion and has multiple layers. But you know, so for me it's like, that's just like how I am, you know, normally, just kind of like getting my energy back from that aspect, you know. But like the energy you get from stream is like a completely different energy because it is tiring, you know, because you are having to be an extroverted version of yourself. So being an introvert, it is very hard to keep up that energy, you know. Or people will sometimes be like, oh, classy, can't you go longer? No, I can't, or I'm going to fall over. Like,
Yeah.
I love when people say that,
It's-
and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
I've been on for 12 hours. Like, what do you mean go longer? Like,
But even if it's only been like, what, 3 or 4 people say that, you know, and I'm like, I have no more to give you. Like, I can feel myself starting to drain, you know. And I don't
I
want
couldn't go longer, but you wouldn't like it.
right, like,
Kaiser's always trying to get me to do 72-hour streams. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
bro.
Same thing to me. My streams are like 2.5 hours long. I was just
Right.
like,
That's
no,
the
let's keep
first thing-
going.
I had never done a 12-hour before, and I did that
50,000
I did that 12-hour like a few weeks ago, and Kaiser was like, okay, 72 hours next.
Kaiser's on that.
Yes, you.
Kaiser's on that all or nothing or bust. He's like,
Yeah,
fucking go
literally,
all out
yeah.
or nothing.
Kaiser, you don't stream, do you?
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, let me tell you something. Kaiser is one of the best mods I've ever
He
seen.
really is.
He's
Oh,
a
I'm
super
sure.
dedicated mod.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to have to clue up now because me and Morgan are traveling tomorrow and have to be up
Oh,
comically early.
Yeah.
But
Like, how early? How early we talking?
Well, I'm leaving at 4:45.
Oh,
Whoa.
my
Damn.
Lord. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Just do
I'm
an
about
all
the
nighter. It's
same.
fine.
Morgan's about the same, I think. Classy. Or let me just. So, guys,
It
if
was
you've
an
not
understatement.
Gone over to see Classy stream. Please go on over. It's very wonderful. Classy, thank you so much for being on. You were a wonderful guest.
no,
Yes.
thank you guys so much. I've actually, like, I reached out to Melly and I was like, I've been wanting to come on and talk to you guys. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed this and I've been wanting to do it. I just wasn't streaming. So, you know,
I mean, this has
that
been a
wasn't
great
gonna
day, so.
happen, so.
I think it was. I was super happy when Mel told us that you wanted to be on. I was like,
Yeah.
classy, it'll be so fun.
I'll be
and
honest,
we appreciate it because we
thank
have seen
God
you
I
in the
threw
chat
out
before,
the,
like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
the whole application thing. Because, like, that was good at first, but, like, after a while, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to have these people fill out this fucking application. I was like,
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. So Classy, I'm not sure how many episodes you've seen or if you know you've signed up, but we are going to have you on again in the future
Yes,
because
at
that's
some
the
point
deal.
in time.
It is a
It
it
could
is a
be-
contract.
Yes.
At the end of the year, it could be 10 years from now, but like if
Yeah.
it
See this?
doesn't
This is
matter.
where I pricked myself and signed in blood. Everyone.
Yeah.
By the way, your I want to say this at the beginning of the stream, but I love your nails. I'm sorry, I had to
thank
Oh
say
my
that.
god, me too. Like
Sorry.
whenever like you showed your nails, I was like, yes. Oh my god. I love it.
Yeah, that's my like. So I like to joke that I'm not a typical girl and that I'm like into hunting and fishing and gaming and like not just fishing in games. I fish in real life.
IRL
Like
fishing.
yeah, like So it's like I've always been very much a tomboy and like in sports and stuff. But this is like my super girly thing. Like I love getting my nails done. So yeah, I always try. But they actually really need a fill, and I'm going Thursday or tomorrow. So
Ooh,
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So,
the
guys-
movement,
Yeah.
Uh,
The
guys,
Jessica.
me and Morgan are going to be away next Wednesday. So we won't be on here next Wednesday, but we are coming back on the 26th.
26th.
Are we allowed to say yet?
So tentatively it's gonna be a girl in her games, but that depends on her schedule. Because she said the closer it gets, the more likely she'll know.
Mhm.
So it's either gonna be
uh,
that or the other Ashwina, or depending on
yeah.
whatever. It's
Nice.
like we'll figure it
We,
out.
so we may have regardless.
We're
no
gonna
matter
have
what,
somebody.
You can count on the fact that on the 26th we will be back with an episode
Yes.
of some kind. So we'll be here. So hopefully you guys are here too. Thank you everyone for joining us so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you. for
And thank
having
you,
me.
Classy, so much.
Yeah, thank
Yes, thank you for
Thank
coming
you
on.
guys, seriously.
Thank you for wanting to be on, because I know some of the people that I've reached out to, they're like, I guess I'll do it. And like, some people are like, oh, I want to be on this. Like, it's like, oh, it's like that's
You
so much
respond
easier.
with, I guess I don't want you anymore. Then.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that spot's filled now.
yeah. Yeah.
Can we
sorry.
can we also shout out Zippy with maybe the best emote choice I've ever seen? He's got a classy one, a Tocto love, a Mapsio love, and one of Melly's emotes.
I love it.
Okay, so
Are we gonna
guys,
rate somebody,
Yes, usually we rate someone afterwards.
Well
I don't know
done.
if you had anyone in mind, Classy, that you might want to throw on anyone you're following, or if anyone else has one and you don't care and to object to who we host
Oh.
or Ray and whatever.
I mean, I don't object to anyone. I always tend to try and do our true variety team because I love all you guys so much. So, who's streaming right now? Is Kazler on? I thought I saw
Kazler
that.
Kaz
was, but I think
not
he's
on at the
off.
moment.
Yeah.
Oh, he just went off.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is such a difficult decision.
There's a lot of people
Okay,
here. I have one if you guys can't come up with one.
Who is yours?
Who is mine?
Yeah.
Mine is Metagame Mike,
Oh.
who I'm sure some
have
of you
not
know.
seen
Melly
him before.
definitely knows Metagame.
Yes.
He's
I
an
know Metagame
artist.
Mike-
He's
yeah,
an artist for Brawlhalla, and he also plays
Oh.
Brawlhalla on stream. And I think it's really
Cool.
cool to watch someone really good at the game they do art for. It's like,
Hell yeah.
you know, like
He does
uh,
art streams at times
Let's
also.
go there.
he does art streams. He's a badass. He's cool.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. I have a special place in my heart for creative people, like because I wish I was more creative. So anyone who's a badass at like art or anything creative, I'm like, hell yes. Like let's watch their content. And if he's also good at games, like that's awesome.
He's absurdly good at Brawlhalla. Oh my god, Kaiser, you're ridiculous. That I would. Oh my god, that
Oh my god.
there's like a meme on my channel, Classy, that people because someone came in one day and shouted out Ninja. So this meme that I love.
This was
Ninja.
this was after he left Twitch.
He
so
switched
like
to
it came up
Mixer.
with the
Yeah, he'd
channel,
already been on
like-
Mixer for like 3 months.
You're like,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
how do we
That's actually
how do
why
we
the shout out
integrate?
command is mods only, because some people stop shouting out Ninja.
He made it not mod only for
Oh,
like a little
when you
bit, and
said
he was like,
shout
"Never
out,
mind."
I thought you meant like just shouted it out, not like
No, they literally,
Shout out.
like exclamation point SO Ninja.
So I know you're trying to go, but I
Yeah.
work with generally older people, but they all know that I game and stream. And so
Like,
every
constantly
once
ask
in a
you about
while,
Ninja.
oh, I even still, every once in a while, get people coming up to me going, "Did you hear that Ninja went to Mixer?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, guys.
That's
Got
also a
it.
running meme in Ash's channel.
Yeah.
But like
Oh.
they're asking me seriously, like no joke. They think I don't know this information, and they're like
Right, yeah.
trying to be somewhat cooler,
That's
right?
when you're just like, who's Ninja?
Yeah. I was unaware. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah.
So Rory, if you throw the
Yeah.
username in chat, because I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah.
And this
There you
time
go.
I'll make sure to do raid, not host. So the
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Fail.
the lore from last time was
Fail.
I accidentally put host, and then we were gonna raid, but then since it's host, it doesn't immediately.
Morgan once did like a half raid with me once that like it didn't go through. It didn't say like Mapsio Morgan has raided, but all her people were there.
Yeah.
And I was like, where'd you all come from?
Well, that
They
wasn't
teleported. They didn't raid. They teleported in.
That wasn't even the bad part. I did raid afterwards. So like after we hosted, we raided like 3 minutes after the fact. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I'm sorry. This is.
Oh, we've all been there.
Well, all right,
Alright, everyone,
guys.
we hope you have a
Thank you
great,
so much.
great weekend and rest of your week.
And for any of
see you
those who don't have anything to do on Friday, don't worry, you're not alone. It's cool. Chill out. A lot of people on Twitch will be on, so be less
Yes.
lonely there.
Yes. It's all about
And-
love, no matter if it's with your friend or a streamer or whatever. Yeah. Just
Oh my
celebrate
gosh.
love on any facet.
Trev, you got an offer in chat.
We can turn that into a Monster Hunter day. Just you and me.
Oh my goodness. That's love right there.
Vivid, I'm not busy. I will easily be your Valentine.
I already have that.
Richard breaking hearts in chat already.
Richard always breaks hearts. Are you kidding me? That should be like Richard Heartbreak.
Smash your-
Oh, thank you,
Smash your
Kaiser.
hearts.
Kaiser, we're
Smash
really
your
looking
hearts.
forward to it. We really
It's rating in
Hearts.
3,
Hearts.
2, 1 on auto. So
Bye.
Is it? It's not showing up.